Oh boy! Tomb Raider! Okay, now, how do I go about reviewing this without sounding like a total cynical asshole? Okay, first off, let me say this. Tomb Raider 2013 is not a bad game. It's actually pretty well made. It's very structurally sound, its mechanics are pretty good, and it has some really great moments in it.
Keep looking! She's gotta be here somewhere!
Sadly, the game has problems, and those problems really come in abundance the more you play the game. Let's start off by giving a little background to the game. It's made by Crystal Dynamics. They've made a couple of Tomb Raider games in the past, and they've done quite well with the franchise. They're pretty well trusted with Lara and her outings, and people expected them to do really well with this one. It's a reboot and an origin story for Lara, so anything that has come before is pretty much a sequel to what we're seeing in this game. This game is supposed to outline how she got started as the major heroine adventurer that she is today, and the struggles she had to go through to get to where she is. So it goes like this. The game is set up with Lara and a bunch of other characters aboard a ship called the Endurance. The ship magically crashes or gets attacked or something in the middle of the ocean, and it is magically ripped in half, just like the Titanic. And Lara is aboard. She tries to jump off and escape. One of the fellow crew members grabs her by the hand, but it's too slippy, it's too rainy, it's too wet, and she slips and falls into the ocean while we get a big lovely shot of her cleavage as she does so, completely nullifying any sort of emotional impact we're supposed to have at that given situation. Lara then wakes up on the beach with her friends literally about 20 to 25 feet away from her. It's spilling down rain. She calls out to them, but somehow they can't hear her. They must all have selective hearing. But she is, of course, attacked and knocked out by some natives. She is taken prisoner and hung upside down inside a cave. It's at this point that we get to take control of Lara for the first time and get on our merry way. Now, for the first point of discussion, I'm going to bring up the characters.
I'm telling you, Reyes, it's mechanical, not an electrical problem.
Now, Alex.
This looks like it might be an electrical problem.
You think?
All of these characters would fit perfect in some really bad Hollywood B-movie. They're all so incredibly stereotypical and cliched. You have the nerdy white guy, evident by his escape button t-shirt that he has on and his glasses, just in case you didn't know he was the nerd. You have the sassy black girl, who's always there to backtalk to people and be really clever and a bit of a hard ass. You have the Scottish guy who seems to enjoy drinking and regaling stories of brawls and fights that he's had in the past. You have the overconfident architect who is just there to make Lara look better, so he seems really incompetent all the time. You have the New Zealand Maori kind of guy who is extremely in touch with the spiritual world, and he almost seems like a voodoo type of guy. And not only are all these qualities really bad, and you can see how the characters are going to play out right from the moment you meet them, but we're introduced to the characters in the exact stereotypical way that they are portrayed. Just in case you thought anything else of them, or in case you thought they had any other character qualities apart from the cliche that they fall into. Then we have Lara herself. Now, a lot of people have been saying that Camilla Luddington really did a good job with her, and Lara seems really relatable, but I'm really not feeling this character. I think Camilla completely overacted when it came to Lara, and she did so with such a weird fake British accent. Even though she's originally British herself, her voice has become so Americanized that when she does a British accent, it just sounds like an American person trying to do a British accent.
We're getting closer to the storm.
Well, whatever's coming, we'll get through it, eh?
Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are British people out there who think she actually sounds okay. I'm not British myself, so maybe other people think her voice sounds pretty natural. But I think I've heard enough British accents to know a fake one when I actually hear it. And sadly, the longer the game went on, the more annoying it got for me, and I just kind of zoned out and stopped listening to anything she was even saying anymore. But enough about her accent. We could talk about that all day. Let's actually get on to her character arc in the game and how that actually plays out. This is a bit of a hot topic when it comes to the game. This is what everyone kind of gets to first about this new Tomb Raider. The reason being, Lara goes from being a survivor from a boat crash to fucking Rambo in the space of literally an hour. It took me an hour to play, according to my Steam, to where she got to a point where she was fine with killing absolutely fucking everything that walked. She gets some good parts where she kills her first deer and she kind of breaks down and is disgusted by killing it or opening it up for food or anything like that. And when she kills her first guy, she seems pretty distraught about it. But then, bam, 2 seconds later, when she's climbing a ladder and her friend calls her and she says that she killed someone, she literally says it's scary how easy it was. Now, this to me was where it all fell apart. She was completely distraught about killing a deer, she was completely distraught about killing the guy, and then she just turned around and said it was fine, that it was no big deal. And I have no problems with her killing in the game, but it's the fact that it happened all too soon. I feel like they should have spaced out her first kill a bit more from her second kill, or her third, or her big homicidal maniac rage afterwards. But it goes from her killing her first guy and being upset about it to her literally killing like a dozen guys the next scene after. So it just feels a little weird that she went from one thing to another in such a dynamic shift straight away. And a lot of people have been arguing that maybe she had some training before, and it's quite obvious that she did have training. She had some survival training and hiking training with the guy who let her slip on the boat and fall into the ocean and her father. But you don't show her killing a bunch of dudes and then telling us that she had training. You're supposed to build up the context before the action actually happens. So in that case you're thinking, oh well yeah, she had training, she was able to do all that stuff. Not later going, oh, she did have training? Because you already felt what you felt at the time, so doing it backwards just really disconnects you from the character completely. It becomes even worse later in the game when Lara is chasing a bunch of dudes and things are blowing up all over the place, and she says, literally word for word, "Run, you bastards, I'm coming for all of you." A lot of people might overlook this, but to me, all that symbolized at that moment was that Lara has become someone who actually enjoys killing these guys. From a person who really just wanted to save her friends to a person who enjoys the bloodlust of all the people around her, she became a parody of herself at that moment, and that is a territory I think the character never should have gone in. She should have stayed a little bit more reserved and never had over-the-top lines like that.
Just end it. Please.
Go to hell.
Let's talk about visuals now. You've seen the game in motion for just over 9 minutes now, and there is no doubt that the game is quite something to look at. I'm playing the PC version and it's completely maxed out, and the game really is stunning at times. There were some hiccups at first with the game, especially on Nvidia GPUs, because the game uses what's called tress effects, which is some really fancy looking hair tech. It's not actually on in the video at the moment because it completely destroys performance on any machine that doesn't have an AMD GPU. But even without it, the game still looks really, really well. And I've left my FPS counter up in the top right for this video, just to show you guys what the performance is kind of like during different scenarios within the game. There was also an issue with the game not showing its full graphical features in full screen mode. You actually had to go into windowed mode by pressing Alt and Enter, and some of the graphic features would show up, like lens flares, bloom, water splashing on the screen, or snow splashing on the screen. Thankfully, the good guys over at Crystal Dynamics found this out very quickly, and they have it already patched. It's not actually in this video because I recorded this stuff before the patch actually came out, but there's another video on my channel showing the patch and also some of the very fancy hair tech that's available for Tomb Raider.
You gotta get back. Shut up and let me finish.
Now let's move on to gameplay. This is where things get very interesting. On one hand, the gameplay is extremely good. The movement of Lara, moving her around the environment, climbing, jumping, grabbing, all that sort of stuff, it just feels great. It feels organic, it feels dynamic, it's very, very fluid. The animations are great, and it just really feels like you're in control of her. But what did they do? They messed it all up by giving you this fucking crap wonky ass camera. I mean, this thing has been known to cause nausea among gamers. Some people have complained that they can't play for more than 30 minutes before the camera actually makes them dizzy or vomit. And I don't know whose job it was to put this camera into the game, but whoever they were, they need to be beaten with a stick. Other little things in the gameplay kind of bug me, like here, Lara chooses herself when she runs or when she crouches or when she walks. It's not really a big thing, but I really enjoy when I'm in control of the character as much as possible. I don't like it when the game takes over and makes me walk when I don't really want to. Now, something else they've added, and it's kind of up in the air whether you like it or not, I myself don't, I actually didn't use it a whole lot when I was playing the game, is survival instinct. I don't know about you, but I just hate these kind of focus modes or instinct modes that are making their way into games these days. Hitman Absolution had this kind of thing as well, where it just let you see all the enemies in the environment or all the secrets. And in a game like this, where it's already completely and utterly easy, I really don't need something of a crutch to help me get around the environment or see where the enemies are or find all the secrets. I like to do all that stuff on my own. Now, there are puzzles in this Tomb Raider, just like all the older games. Just in case you were looking at all this footage thinking, oh my god, there's no puzzles, it's just action and set pieces and fighting all the time. But they're there. There's some slowdowns, there's some exploration. They're actually very much needed in this game, and they're probably the best part of the entire game, is just going off and exploring at your own will and doing all these little puzzles and these tombs and completing them and getting your little reward at the end. It's really satisfying to do it, and you feel really accomplished when you get them done. However, they're not particularly hard. Most of them, like this one here, they're all about timing. It's learning the mechanics of the puzzle, then just setting everything up and jumping when you're supposed to jump. Sadly, for me, there's not enough of these in the whole game. The game basically revolves around action and set pieces and just kind of linear platforming. There's no real incentive to go off and doing these puzzles. The story of the game always constantly drives you forward to go save your friends or kill the next group of guys. So there's no real drive to go do these, and it's really up to the player when they want to do it. And while that's really good to have that option, it's also kind of sad that they didn't force some of these into the story. Because if you just do the story and don't do any of the side missions or the exploration, the pacing is completely off, and these puzzle sections really, really help the pacing out and really slow down the game when it really needs it. And in my opinion, there's not enough slowdowns between the fights. Sometimes the fights come really one after another, and you get really fatigued, and the combat, while it's good, can get a bit tiresome if you're doing it over and over again, one after another. And this is what all the older games were about. For me, they were always about the level first. They were always about traversing your environment and overcoming the puzzles and the obstacles first. And the combat was just sort of peppered throughout the level. However, in this Tomb Raider, it seems to be the opposite. It seems to be all about the action and the shooting first, and the exploration and the puzzle solving and the platforming and all that is just kind of a byproduct of those set pieces, and it's kind of interlaced between it, and there's not enough of it. So that just shows the kind of contrast between the older and the newer, and it's something that I don't really like, or the direction that they went in for this game. Ho ho! Now we come to the big fat pink elephant in the room. That would be the QTEs. Yes, people. You thought this review was going to get away with not getting the QTEs talked about? Well, no sir. The QTEs in this game fucking suck. Anyone who tells you otherwise is just a liar. In the game's defense, the QTEs really drop off later in the game, but at the start of the game, you will be QTEing your ass off all the time. This is the worst culprit in the game, this QTE right here that I'm doing now. This comes out of nowhere, and you have to perform 5 QTEs all in a row, one after another. And while that's bad on its own, the PC version of the game has QTE prompts completely mislabeled, or sometimes they're not even labeled. The start of the QTE starts off with left and right really fast, and there is no possible way to do it with one hand fast enough. I keep failing all the time, and then I have to use 2 hands to do it. Then all this stuff comes up saying mash E, press F, and while sometimes mash E is always the thing to go to, it just suddenly changes to mash F in the middle of the QTE, and I was there pressing E all the time, and I was wondering why I was failing it. And to have the button prompt at the very bottom of the screen while the thing you're concentrating on is above it, it's just way, I don't know, it completely distracts you and you're not concentrating on what you're supposed to be concentrating on. And the QTEs are just completely counterproductive. They're not satisfying. They don't give a feeling of dread or tension or anything like that. They just completely frustrate the player, and they're just an extremely stupid way to give interactivity to the player, and I loathe the QTEs in this game. The upgrade system in this game is just pointless. Some of the things that you can upgrade are actually needed, like faster climbing or increased ammo capacity, but the majority of stuff is completely redundant. You get EXP and upgrade points just so you can upgrade faster, and I don't know, I had skill points that I had for like an hour or 2 hours in the game that I just didn't want to use. I had nothing to gain from using them, and in the end I just forced myself to use them so I could get the achievement for upgrading a complete skill tree. However, salvaging things is pretty cool. Upgrading your weapons while completely fucking stupid and Laura turns into MacGyver, but it does serve a purpose. You can see the fruits of your labors pretty soon after getting it, and your guns can fire faster, they can fire better, you can hold more ammo, you can reload faster, and I like that. I like instant feedback on my upgrades. That sort of brings to a close the main points that I wanted to talk about. There are other things I could talk about, like how the sound is really good, but the sound of the bow kind of annoys me. It's not as good as some games, Far Cry 3. But this game has a lot of elements from other games, and they're really obvious. One of them would be, like, the wall climbing is very reminiscent of the God of War games. The rope climbing is kind of like the Arkham games. The religion and all the candles kind of sprinkled about the environment really reminded me of Dead Space 2. And let's face it, you can't really look at this game and not say that it looks like Uncharted. It really does copy a lot from Uncharted, just from the set pieces alone. But it also does them so much better than Uncharted. It's kind of annoying to see a person fall that many times and not die or break a bone or anything like that. But once you accept the game for what it is, those things kind of fizzle off and you don't really care about them as much. And the platforming and the combat and all that is just so much better than Uncharted, and please, watching Laura jump around is much fucking better than watching Nathan Drake. God, I hate that guy. But while I sounded extremely negative about the game, a lot of you are probably saying, this fucking guy doesn't know what he's talking about, he's just complaining all the time. That's true, I am complaining a lot about this game. That's kind of why I wanted to do the review, because I felt like I had a lot in my head that I just wanted to get out there. But while I complained a lot about the game, I still wanted to come back and play it. So that says a lot about it. Like when I finished a session, I couldn't wait until I was like finished eating and I could come back and play the game again. And it's the first game in a long time that I finished to completion in the campaign, like without playing any other games. So that says a lot about it. And please, by all means, if you think I'm wrong about this game, if you have some thoughts about the game that you want to get out there too and you want to criticize me for, please, I am game. I am all for that. I love feedback and I love debating things with people. And I'm not claiming that I'm right, I'm just getting my thoughts out there. I had a lot of them on paper while I was playing the game, so I just got them down in video form. And I always wanted to do a review, so I thought this was a good game to start with. If you guys want to see me do more reviews, if you like this one, just let me know in the comment section. I will gladly do more. I would love to do more. I had a lot of fun doing this one and splicing video footage together and writing down stuff, and I'd love to get better at them and do more of them. If you want to see more Tomb Raider on PC, that is not a problem. Let me know too, and I will gladly record some of that for you.
Yeah, I will.
If you like the video, please click the little likey button. Doesn't take a lot of time. If you like the stuff that I produce, just click the little subscribe button and you will get all my videos as they come out. But that's up to you. I'm not forcing you to do anything. So thanks for watching my first review. Sorry if it's a little bit long, but I will try to make the next ones shorter and more concise and not talk as much about them. But yeah, thanks anyway for watching. I have been Jacksepticeye, and see you all in the next video.
Just be careful, Laura.